Hello everyone, welcome to the channel once again. I'm continuing with the Power Automate series, and in this video we'll learn about the difference between designer workflows, Power Automate and Azure Logic Apps. And then we'll explore the area of triggers, actions, conditions, loops in Power Automate. So let's get started. I'm moving to the first slide. Now the SharePoint Designer Workflows has been there in the Microsoft stack for very long, and it is the old workflow creation tool. Those who have worked with the SharePoint definitely have built SharePoint Designer Workflows, approver workflows to SharePoint Designer. Now it has been deprecated and Power Automate has replaced the SharePoint Designer Workflows. Now the SharePoint Designer is deprecated, but still it is being supported, and I think by 2026 it would be removed. Now, the major limitations in the SharePoint designers were the problem of connections. It was we were not able to make connections with the different products inside the Microsoft stack and outside the Microsoft stack also. So there was a lot of problems in connections, and there were no scheduler workflows and there were no instant workflows also. Now in Power Automate, it's a new tool provided by the Microsoft to create workflows, and it is a no-code, low-code tool for the citizen developers. Now the major advantages which Power Automate provide is its connectors. Now it has inbuilt around 250 plus connectors through which you can connect to the other products of Microsoft and the products which are outside the Microsoft ecosystem also. You can seamlessly connect, you can fetch data, insert data, delete data across the products. This is the major advantage. Also, there are different type of workflows which were not there earlier, like automated, instant, scheduled workflows, business process flows. So these are the major advantages which Power Automate brings with it. Now Power Automate is for citizen developers, Azure Logic Apps is for the developers. Now Azure Logic Apps can be used to build complex workflows which you cannot build through Power Automate. So if you have built a workflow and you think now it's getting very complex, you should contact a developer and he can build the workflow using Azure Logic Apps. Now the one advantage of Azure Logic Apps is also there, that you can import your Power Automate workflow to the Azure Logic Apps and then you can build on that. This is about the tools which are there. Now we can learn about triggers, actions, conditions and loops. So let's navigate to the Power Automate dashboard and then we can see all these terms. So this is my dashboard, and now what is trigger? Trigger is a mechanism which will start your workflow. So whether you want your workflow to be started manually, or you want your workflow to be started automatically, or you want your workflow to be start at a particular time and date. So based on that, you can choose your workflows. So you can go to your My Workflow, and then in the new workflow, if you want to create an automated cloud workflow, you can click here, and then you will see what are the trigger points. So now, when an item is created in a SharePoint, when an item is created or modified, when a file is created in a folder, when a file is created. So these are all the trigger points in the Power Automate. If you go and click here, when any item is created in the SharePoint, it will trigger. So these are all part of automated cloud workflows. Now, if you go to the new workflow and click on instant cloud workflow, you will see manually trigger a workflow. So all those workflows which you want to trigger manually, or for a selected item in the OneDrive, or for a selected item in the SharePoint. So these are all manually driven, manually triggered workflows. So if you want all those triggers which are triggered manually by human interference, you will build these instant cloud workflows. Now if you want to build a workflow which would be scheduled on a particular date and time, starting point this and a date and repeat and everything you can schedule, then you will go and build a scheduled workflow. So this is all about triggers. So these are the events on which your workflow will be triggered. Now we'll explore the area of actions and conditions. So if I go and create a workflow with the existing template, now if I filter with the SharePoint, you see there are so many templates already there. So here, add an item to SharePoint and send an email. I'll select this, and you see these are the connections which are required. So this is SharePoint, Outlook, and then if it says that is not able to connect, meaning you can click it here, it will try to connect again and it will connect. You see, so sometime it happens, it may ask to sign in, so you can sign in. Now you see that two items are ticked, and now you can click continue and the flow will be created automatically. Now create an item, send an email. So these are all actions. If you want to add any conditions, you can click here, add an action, and then here you can see conditions, control, and now this is a condition. Based on this condition, you can, if this condition is met, yes or no, and based on that this conditions, these actions, these below, send an email is an action, so this action will be performed, or create item will be performed. So these two items will be performed based on this condition. So this is the condition, these are actions, and the trigger point is this. Now what are scopes? Now if you go and click here, add an action, and then you can filter with a scope. Now you see this is the scope you can add here. Now the scope is used only to reorganize your flow, because sometimes if you are creating a workflow, it becomes very lengthy and various conditions, and there would be scroll in the bottom, there would be scroll in the top, and it become very difficult to visualize your workflow. So for that you can use the scope. This is very similar to the stages in designer workflows. So how you can scope it, you can just drag and drop here, and you can drag and drop this also. Now based on this condition, if a condition is true, then this will be executed, this scope you can, now based on this condition this will be executed, and if the condition is not true, this no will be executed. Now you see it's very easy to see. You can expand it and collapse it also. So scope is basically used to reorganize your workflow, which become very important if a workflow is very complex. So in this we have learned about conditions and actions, like create an item, send an email, conditions, actions, and scopes. Triggers we have already covered, actions, conditions, and loop. Now loop is similar to for loop, which is not there in this workflow, but this you can create loops also. Like we can create a next step, and then on controls we can see apply for each item, do until. So if you want to see the details of it, you can click here and you see execute a block of action for each item in an input array. So this is a kind of for loop. Now do until is kind of while loop. Execute a block of action until a specified condition evaluates to true. So these conditions, these are loops you can use, apply to each, and you can select the previous item, any of the item, and then you can add actions based on that loop. We'll cover all those loops, conditions when we make our flows. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please do like, share, and subscribe the channel. Thank you so much.